Hi, and welcome back to Point Serve. This is the first podcast of Cross Point Church in Beckley, West Virginia, that is designed to help you be a better leader in life and to have greater influence, whether you are operating in a sacred space or in a secular space. We here at Cross Point want to do our very best to equip you and help you to be a better leader wherever God has placed you, so that your influence can grow and the positive impact that you make is going to be even greater than what you even believe possible. And today we're going to talk about life. As we're nearing Christmas and we're looking at 2024, sometimes life just gets in the way. And there was a fella who, I believe he's still on the radio today, but when I was in college, he was really popular. His name was Earl Pitts, American. And Earl Pitts was just a shtick that this particular person did each and every morning. And he was sharing with America what really makes him sick. And sometimes I think as a leader, we can fall into the Earl Pitts syndrome of things that just make us sick, things that keep us from developing and maturing and experiencing all the things that maybe God is placing within our lives for us to be able to do. I mean, think about it today. Are there things in your life that you would like to be better? Maybe a different work environment so that it doesn't suck the life out of you. Maybe a better marriage, better health, a closer connection to God. Whatever it is that you think life is pulling away from you, think about how you can make that better. And one of the fellas that I read after at times, his name is Kerry Newhoff, and he's out of Canada. But Kerry said that he began to look and see the way that positive leaders affect and look at life versus those that are not positive. And there were three things that really jumped out at him, and I want to share those with you as we're going into Christmas and 2024. I'm hoping that maybe the things that he discovered will help you, and they'll help me be a better leader and better handle life when it comes at us, to better handle the things that life throws at us, because it throws a lot of things at you. The first thing that Kerry discovered was that leaders handle their life, they handle their circumstances in a way that they don't let that momentary circumstance, that momentary situation define who they are. All of us have known people who have allowed one moment to define who they are. We have a tendency to do that on a celebrity level. Whatever moment happens, that we want that to define us if it's good, and we definitely don't want it to define us if we're bad. But great leaders learn how to rise above those situations, because those situations are always fleeting. They're always changing. Those situations always move around us. But what happens is, if we are not careful, we will allow our circumstances to define us, because it sneaks up on us. It comes up on us easily. And here's what we tend to say: well, I could handle this if, or I'd love a chance at that yet, or I don't think I'm ever going to rise to this place because, and we all already decide why I can't, instead of deciding why I can. So the critical mistake that you and I make over and over again, unless we pay attention to it, is we will allow our circumstances to define who we are. I mean, all of us have had negative circumstances, negative situations, negative life events that have hit each and every one of us. But it's our choice whether or not we let that define us. It's our choice whether or not we let those circumstances defeat us and keep us in a particular place. And I can promise you one thing. If you allow circumstances to define who you are, they will ultimately defeat who you are. If you allow them to do that, if you allow them to say, this is what I'm going to do because of X, this is how I am, then we let the circumstance, the situation, the life event define who we are. Make sure that you don't do that. Be a leader, whether you are a manager, whether you are a person that's on the floor, no matter where you find yourself in leadership, make sure that you don't allow circumstances to define who you really are. The second thing Carrie found out was that we need to stop blaming life or God for the circumstances that are around us. And you know, that this one really kind of jumped out at me, because I know when things go negative, we try to blame God. I mean, even in our insurance policies, if a tornado hits your house or a flood hits your house, that's an act of God. And so we're really good about blaming God for the obstacles that we face. But I wonder, does God allow life, as Earl Pitts said, you know what really makes me sick? Does God allow those things to happen so that we can rise above the situation and see the opportunity? To rise above that which is momentarily going on inside of our lives. And you don't have to look any further than the Bible to know the stories about that. I mean, time and again, we see people who were hit with obstacles, problems, issues. I mean, why would God choose obstacles and struggles to help us rise above? Why would he do that? I mean, think about it a minute. God chose dysfunctional families. If you don't believe me, look at the story of Joseph in the Old Testament. I mean, God chooses dysfunctional families, enslaved people, people who cannot even speak well. When he called Moses, Moses had a stuttering issue. And yet, this guy who could not articulate the way that he desired to took on the most powerful king in the world at that time. I mean, lions' dens, burning furnaces, fish that like to swallow prophets, prisons, persecutions. I wonder if any one of those situations, any one of those life events would have brought us to an absolute stop where we are. Would I have waved the red flag and said, that's just too much? I can't do anymore. I mean, what exactly should you never do when circumstances try to define you? Why is it that you and I should not let those things happen? You see, as a leader, we realize that life things happen. We realize that bad moments happen. We realize that people go through struggles, and we do too. But we don't allow those things to keep us from transcending that moment to get to a better tomorrow. Leaders have to take many times what comes at them, but we don't let it define who we are. And because if we do, if we ever let those momentary things define us, then that will determine our focus, future, vision, all of those things. It will determine all of that. I mean, try to think of a leader that you know of in the Bible or in just regular history whose legacy was determined by a situation. Napoleon, there's a movie that's just come out about that, and a lot of people want to look to him because he had great success. And then there was a little thing called Waterloo, and then his life began to spiral downhill. He allowed that one moment to absolutely blow everything else out of the water. You and I cannot control the life events. We cannot control the circumstances and situations that come after us. But as a leader, we can choose not to let those define us. And Carey Nieuwhof said that. And lastly, he said, manage your success well. Being a good winner, in many cases, is much more difficult than being a good loser. Because being a good winner, you have to navigate how you walk through those moments. You have to navigate those things. And sometimes everything is going your way. Perhaps right now in your life, everything is good. Everything is moving forward. I mean, some of you are in that situation right now. You can't imagine life lining up any better than what it is at this particular moment. But with that causes a problem. Because a lot of times we want to coast at that moment. We stop working hard. We stop digging in. We stop working. We stop dreaming about the future. We get to the place where we say, okay, things are good. Everything is all right. And we have what John Maxwell calls the big mo, which is momentum. And momentum tends to make us look way better than what we really are. And a lot of times we stop at that point. I know of congregations who really had momentum in the past, and they thought that momentum would carry them through, but it never does. It will for a little while, for a season, but it does not last. When we are experiencing success in life and we are experiencing the things that are really going well, make sure it does not keep you as a leader striving and dreaming for that which comes next. Because you will realize what every leader sliding down the far side of the success curve really understands. The greatest enemy to future success is current success. The greatest enemy to what could be, what you dream about, what keeps you awake at night, all of those things is what's happening right now. As a leader, what circumstances do you face? Is it hiring? Is it struggling to find the right people? Is it as a leader you're caught up in the status quo and you really don't want to mess up anything that goes that way? I mean, if you kick too hard against the status quo, is it going to mess up what's going on now? Or is that exactly what you need to do in order to have a better tomorrow? So as we go into Christmas and 2024, how would you define your current life situation, your current circumstance? What do you need to change? What do you really like? What are the things that slow you down and keep you from dreaming maybe something bigger than you're experiencing right now, but God has something even greater for you? If we learn to lead by not letting our circumstances define us, we don't get caught up in our successes, but we keep dreaming. What could be bigger? What could be better? What could be stronger? How will I live better? How will I lead better? This Christmas season, I wanted to give you something that I thought is a gift going into 2024 that maybe will help you be that person who rises above their circumstance, who rises above their situation, who rises above a particular life event and not let it define you any longer. Thank you for being a part of Point Serve today. Point Serve is produced by Mike Smith in conjunction with Cross Point Church here in Beckley, West Virginia. My name's Vondie, and I thank you so much for being a part of this monthly podcast. I hope that you found something that you can use, and we also here at Cross Point wish you a very Merry Christmas and a very